It really is super rare for a drummer to have made as big of an impact on other drummers as JD Beck has in recent years. At least from my experience, it feels like since he came onto the scene, his particular feel and way of phrasing has absolutely exploded and become a drumming staple by this point. A feel where you can play every single 30-second note on offer and rip it up with quick linear phrases involving all four limbs. And I'm here for it. These grooves will level up your control, your dynamics, and your coordination, and they're super hard to play clean. Check out this JD Beck groove here from VF Jams by Vic Firth. This seems to be the basis for a lot of the 30-second note phrasing that's become so popular recently. Such a sick groove, man. So it's basically created out of these small little groups of linear patterns, pieced together and then played super quickly. And by the way, you can download all of the notation from today's video for free by hitting the link in the video description. There's also a link to the Drum Hub online membership where you'll find video lessons, courses, masterclasses, backing tracks, notations, and basically everything you need to really level up your playing. The latest video I uploaded is all about the exact style of 30-second note grooves that we're looking at today. So if you enjoyed this video today, I'm sure you'll get loads of value out of that, so feel free to check it out. But either way, the notation is totally free. So for this groove, JD Beck really has his right hand on the snare drum and his left hand on a splash cymbal that he's got on top of the snare drum. I don't have a splash cymbal, so I'm just going to play with my left hand on the rim of the snare. And all we're going to do is break the groove apart and learn each individual pattern and then piece it back together again. So the first pattern we're going to look at is this one here. We're going to play kick, right, left, left. And then once that's feeling good, bump up the tempo and see how fast you can play it. But of course, we want to make sure that we keep it clean and consistent. And then once you got that down, all we're going to do on this pattern here is replace the kick with a hi-hat foot. When you piece them both together, that's the first beat of the bar done. Yes, mate. Now on beat 2 of the bar, we're going to play right, left, while accenting the first right hand on the snare and ghosting the second. And then to finish off that beat, we go back to our hats right, left that we played on beat 1 of the bar. If we piece these two patterns together, so you can hear the whole of that second beat, it's going to sound like this. And then all we need to do is play beat 1 of the bar straight into beat 2 of the bar, and you'll notice that the second half of the bar is exactly the same as the first half. Such a sick sounding groove. And of course, JD Beck is playing fills and he's playing variations, but this is the foundation for everything he's playing. And it's also phrasing that you're gonna see a lot of drummers using recently, especially if you're going on social media. So the challenge is that now we wanna bump up our tempo, and importantly, make sure as you get faster, you also keep it as even as physically possible. So wish me luck. This groove is a bit of a beast, but let's give it a try. Mate, that is really difficult to play when you start to crank up the tempo. I tapped out the speed that JD Beck is playing at. It's around 95 BPM, so it's absolutely rapid. He's definitely made his own mark on the drumming scene and he's put his own stamp on 30-second note grooves. Not to mention he's still super young, which is so impressive, man. Now, I can't speak for another person, but I would guess that JD Beck is probably a massive fan of Steve Gadd, because Steve Gadd was playing these fast, intricate 30-second note grooves way back in the day. Check out this groove here. It's a 30-second note ripper. Man, you gotta love Steve Gadd. So let's break this groove down. So this time, on the first beat of the bar, we're gonna play kick, left, right, left, kick. Ghosting our left hand on the snare and playing our right hand on the hats. Once you're comfortable with that lick, on beat 2 of the bar, you're going to play right, left, left, right, right, left, left kick, and bring your right stick down to the snare drum for an accent on the downbeat of 2. This is basically an inverted double stroke, which would be right, left, left, right, right, left, left, right, but you replace the last right hand with a kick instead. If we piece the first half together, that would sound like this. You might have heard people play that lick before. It's definitely a super popular phrase. And then if we wanted to play note for note what you played in that video, we want to tag on a little variation in the second half. So on beat 3 of the bar, we're going to play right, left, left kick, right, left, left kick. This is kind of like the reverse of the JD Beck lick, kick, right, left, left. Again, we're playing our right hand up on the hats, left hand ghosted on the snare drum. And then to finish off on beat 4 of the bar, we're going to play the same phrase as we played on beat 2 of the bar. So let's have a listen to that whole second half. I mean, that sounds pretty sick as a standalone groove, but now let's see if we can piece the whole bar together. An absolute banger of a groove. Now, I don't know if Steve Gadd was the first person to play a 30-second note groove like this, but he's definitely the first person that I heard play a 30-second note groove like this. And it's wicked to know that people were playing with this style way back in the day, but obviously now it's become super popular and people are pushing it in so many different directions. And speaking of pushing the field in different directions, one of my favorite drummers at the moment is Luke Titus. Check out how he puts his own spin on these 30-second note grooves in joint 5. Come on man, this one is intricate, so let's break it down. So there's a lot going on in this groove, and personally, the way that I learned it was to play it first without the left foot, and then to add that in as the final step, just so you can get used to the patterns first. So on beat 1 of the bar, we're gonna play right, left, kick, right, and just double up that first right hand with a kick. This feels a bit weird at first, because you're kind of going from a right hand lead single stroke roll into a left hand lead single stroke roll. Once you got that down, the second beat of the bar is left, right together. You're going to play 4 30-second notes and 2 16th notes, which personally, I would count 2E and a 2 and. We want to accent our snare drum on the downbeat, and then when you play that together at the end, you're going to buzz the left hand on the snare. Now, as we go into the second half, we got a little bit of variation. The third beat of the bar is pretty much the same as the first beat of the bar, you just don't need to play your bass drum. And then beat 4 of the bar starts off the same as beat 2 of the bar, left, right, left. To finish off, we're gonna play right, left kick. The same phrase we played in the Steve Gadd groove. So now, let's check out how it sounds to piece together all of the patterns we've played so far. And to start with, we're going to play it nice and slow. Sick, so that gives us the overall groove, but importantly, now we want to add in our left foot, which adds an extra element and sounds wicked. So our left foot is placed on the downbeat and the and of beat 2, the downbeat of 3, and then the downbeat and the and of beat 4. 1E and a 1E and a 2E and a 2E and a 3 and a 3 and a 4E and a 4E and a. And when I'm playing it in the groove, I'm kind of thinking about playing 3 hi-hats and then 2. Adding the left foot in like this is definitely going to make the coordination go up a level, but although it makes it more difficult, it also makes it sound even better. So let's give it a try nice and slow. And then there's only one thing left to do, which is to play this groove as fast as we possibly can. Luke Titus is playing it absolutely rapid, so I'll do my best to try and keep up. Such a great sounding groove, man, and you might have noticed I put a big fat snare drum on top of my ride cymbal. This is just to cut the sustain, so every single note comes through nice and clear. This is something that you'll notice also with drummers who are playing in this style. A lot of the time, they're dampening down their drums and they're muting their cymbals because you're playing so many notes. So having everything really dead and snappy sounding just means that you can hear every single note a lot clearer. And although you probably have noticed a shift towards these busy 30-second note grooves where people are playing every note on offer, I'd also recommend to experiment, mixing these ideas in with the phrasing that you already played every day. And this is a great way of putting your own spin on it and making it your own. Because although JD Beck has made a huge impact on drumming recently, you also have the opportunity to make that impact too. So I'm looking forward to hearing what you come up with. Make sure to grab the notation for today's video by hitting the link in the video description, and feel free to also check out the Drum Hub online membership if you'd like to learn drums with me. And then if you're looking to push your coordination even further, I'd recommend checking out this video here where we dive into linear phrasing, which will come in handy when you're working on these 30-second notes. And I'll catch you over there.